What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bolt Standard Podcast. Got your host with you, Dylan Martin, Justin Harley here. 3-0, heading into another week of Chargers football. Justin, how we feeling today?
Feeling great, man. Feeling great, man. We a couple of weeks back, we was putting out some different content and just thinking about some different things, talking about schedule predictions and where we could be at, going into week four. And obviously this was the ideal scenario going, into week four, playing the Giants on the road, and being 3-0 at the time, and not just 3-0 in the league, 3-0 in the division, which is huge considering everybody else is 1-2.
Yep.
So very, very, very nice start to the year. Great win last week. Obviously, we'll talk more about that on the recap. But no, feeling good, man. Feeling really good where we're at. Um, Team showing a lot of promise. I mean, it's funny to say that, like considering like we're 3-0, like, oh, we're showing a lot of promise, but like we're actually 3-0. We've playing really well, but there's so
Yeah.
much more that they can actually improve to. So
Yeah.
super excited.
Absolutely. So tons of growth still available, which you love to see for a 3-0 team. Man, I'm riding this high from SoFi still. I've been, I came back this week, back to work and all that, but like it was unbelievable to be there. Just the atmosphere, Thunder Alley to start the day.
Yeah,
Went with my brothers and it was just a great time. Good seats, great stadium overall. My first time there, so I got to reflect on the experience with you a little bit.
for sure.
Definitely got to find your way out there. I'm really trying to find a way back now. Like Sunday night after the game, Monday when I was traveling home, that's what I was looking at. I'm like, man, which one makes sense for me to come back to? Because my brother was already talking about, man, I got to find another one. But like just being there and feeling it in the stadium and hearing it rocking and just all of the Bolt family just there, towels waving, everybody locked in, wanting to see us win. It was a really a cool experience, and I was glad that I finally made it out there.
Great vibes, man. Sound like great vibes, man. I'm like I said, I'm jealous. Supposed to be out there too. Obviously, we got some stuff going on. We got a baby on the way in about 2 weeks, so I had to be smart and strategic about it. But no,
Yeah.
man, super jealous of you, man. I'm sure Thunder Alley was just rocking, man. I'm sure it was just a great trip all around.
Yeah, everybody was super excited, 2-0 heading into a huge matchup. And let's talk about that matchup real quick. So we're gonna recap week three real quick since we didn't come with the post game with me being out of town. Just give me your thoughts. We got a 23-20 game-winning field goal victory for the Chargers over the Denver Broncos, like we talked about, another divisional opponent, 3-0 in the division now. What'd you see from the game on Sunday?
I saw a lot of perseverance. I saw a team that played literally with the lead at all times, the lead or tied at all times in the first two games. Don't believe we ever trailed in any of those games. Definitely not the Raiders game.
No.
But we didn't trail against Mahomes either.
Yep.
They put some drives together late. Obviously, you got the game close, but I look at a team that, okay, first time we are home, so you have that aspect of it. But the first time trailing in a game this year, okay, what are we gonna do against a very good defense, a ferocious defense, and we had tons of injuries along that O line where
Yeah.
it's like, man, we got Jamari Salyer and we got Austin Decklis in that right tackle.
Yeah.
It's like, man, Bozeman got banged up. He was able to tough it out and he stayed. But it's like, man, you're looking at that. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, what is this being down this amount of points? And I'm like, knowing we got to get down and get a score. The D line playing how they were playing and our O line banged up. I'm like, man, this ain't looking good. But 10 put on his cape. 10 put on his cape, man. Let us down there.
Yeah.
Huge, just ridiculous. I don't even know. And it's so funny because he made a play in similar fashion against the Broncos last year where he was
Yep.
rolling to his left. He flung it. Darius Davis catches it. Like, and this one was even more incredible. Like, because
More.
he's throwing to a receiver that's not even open, puts it in a spot where the defender saw it, swiped at it, missed it. Keenan Allen, great concentration, got the grab. And then defense does what we're supposed to do. Just they lock in, get us the ball back. And what does 10 do? Drive us right down the field
Right
again.
down.
Game winning field goal. Not a question in my mind that I not think that the most accurate kicker in NFL history
Hmm.
would not seal the deal. So
Yeah.
man, just a crazy game, man. Crazy game, man. Couple quick stats that I want to point out that I'm gonna throw it over to you.
Yeah.
Herbert through 3 games this year has 2 games with 300 plus passing yards. Last year, all of 2024, he had 2 games of 300 plus passing yards. Week
Wow.
6 against the Cardinals and week 18 against the Raiders.
Wow.
So put that in perspective. Cardinals, their defense wasn't good last year. They were a mess last year, and we lost that game too. We lost that game because I was on a
Don't,
cruise ship and I almost jumped off
don't
because
remind me.
I was pissed. I was pissed. Um, and then Week 18 Raiders. I mean, we know how that game went. But you look at the two defense we did it against this year. Broncos, they're going to be a top five unit, maybe even top three unit this year. And then you look at the Chiefs. Yeah, they don't look like the old Chiefs, but they're still a good defensive unit, coached by probably the best defensive coordinator. Maybe top two. I think Minner's the best, but
Right, yeah.
maybe top two defensive coordinator in the league. So like, I'm not giving them any breaks. Like, no, that's greatly coached defense over there, and he's put up 300-yard games already in
Yeah.
3 games. So just the things that Herbert is doing, the health is there. Um, and it's just looking like it's just there's no stopping him. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, and he showed it on that touchdown pass to Keenan Allen. Didn't
Yeah.
matter. Guard got blown up. Guy ran around Zion. Oh, are you gonna sack me? No, you're not. Step up, shrug you off, get out. Oh, Nick Benito hitting my arm, pushing me up, still make the pass. Like it's just
I feel
on a
like
high,
that's the
man.
toughest part for me, man. Like you have a bona fide edge defender right on your arm. And it wasn't like he was in front of him. It was all arm. And you can't even really get a full throw. Like Harbaugh was explaining it. And he was like, you only get like this much to throw. And then he still zipped it in there, you know?
Hmm.
And I just think that's the most impressive part, man. Is like that throw was just incredible to finish off that play. The all around incredible play to escape from, um, you know, $90 million defensive tackle coming up straight in front of you.
Yep.
Boom, step by him and then get outside and do that. Incredible. Uh,
Unreal.
Man, yeah. Everything you said, I was feeling the same thing. I definitely went and did a rewatch afterwards because I wanted to see how it looked, on the TV. Definitely could feel a lot of things that I saw live and watching the game. I was locked in the whole time. Harbaugh would have been proud of my effort waving that towel and giving high fives in my section. So I was definitely felt like I did my job on my end. But when I looked back and when I saw it and more in depth as well. What stands out to me is the game I felt like was played in like three like segments, three chunks. And what the way I'm breaking it down is we controlled the game early. I can't say dominated just because we didn't score enough points, but it was 10-0 up until a minute left in the half. And then they score on that 4th and 2,
Hmm.
which takes us to like the second portion of the game. Because basically we have full control for a quarter, 2 quarters essentially. Feel like full control of the game. They're not doing anything on offense. Defense came up with them stops. It was kind of sloppy in the first quarter. Then we get a touchdown drive finally. Um, then they get to that 4th and 2 play where they score, and all of a sudden they get some positive momentum to go into halftime. Then they get the ball in the second half and immediately score in a minute and a half. So all of a sudden, after being 10-0, controlling the game for the whole hour and a half of the first half, 2 minutes of clock time, and we're down 14-10. And then to make matters worse, the next kickoff we fumble, and they got the ball on the 30-yard line looking to make it a two-score game. And all of a sudden we're on our heels, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, here, what's gonna happen here? Now, I don't think anybody was worried because the way the defense has played all game, you kind of felt like that long rush by JK was a fluke, and even that touchdown wasn't like something that you can see happening often, like Henley not making a play on the sideline. So we get a stop, but they still are in field goal range. So all of a sudden it's 17 to 10 in the matter of 3 minutes of game time. So I feel like that was that second portion to where like we controlled. Broncos all of a sudden went bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden they're up 17 to 10. And then we have a fight. We go back and forth a little bit to finish that third quarter. Then I think the fourth quarter is where I find that third portion of the game where the Chargers
Hmm.
said, "We're not losing." You know, we got a big hold even before we scored to tie it. We held them
Hmm.
to three when it was 17-13. They got all the way down to the 5-yard line. We stopped them on first down. They had a penalty on second, and then they did nothing on third. So then it's 20-13 instead of 24-13. Huge
Hmm.
difference in the fourth quarter if that happens. Uh,
Yep.
I think we had a couple punts back to back for each team, and then all of a sudden Herbert does that drive with 5 minutes left to go down and score right before the 2-minute warning. And then credit to the defense, quick three and out to give us a chance to win. So I think the way I think about that game is just, we played it at that segmentation of the game to win it when we needed to win it after, a lot of times Charger fans could be thinking, okay, here we go again, Oh, turnovers. Like we lost the turnover battle -2 and won the game. Herb threw the interception early that was tipped off of a couple hands. And
Hmm.
then Davis fumble, which could have been really bad. But there's a lot of times little things that happen in the game, like a key stop that turns into a field goal or a key stop that makes them punt. Like Nick's dove and was this close to the first down that could have extended the drive late.
Yeah,
And that turned out to be the punt that led to our touchdown drive. So a lot of little things. He missed a deep guy like two or three times that could have
thank the
would have been
Lord.
touchdowns. So um, you know, Chargers are doing something right, and we're 3-0. We won the game, which is the most important thing. And like you said, never a doubt for Dicker at the end. Where our seats were, it's more on the end zone side, so straight in front. So he was kicking it towards us, not right at us. So like I couldn't see that it
Couldn't
was
really
good
tell
until the crowd started roaring, but you know it, like you know it. So
for sure.
awesome. So yeah, just super excited about that. Any final thoughts before we move on to week 4? Because I think it's just it can't be understated that how big, important 3-0 is. Not just in the division, but overall, our first time in 22 years since 2003 that the Chargers are 2-0 or 3-0, excuse me. Uh, and then the first team in the NFL since 2006 to start in their division 3-0. So a couple crazy stats that are like 20-year long stats that the Chargers are doing right now.
Yeah, no, like you said, man, it's all super exciting stuff knowing that we're kind of not setting records, but getting our team in a spot that no team has been in over 20 years. It's amazing to see it. Year two of Harbaugh, you always see the stats where it's like, oh, first year Harbaugh does some things, gets the team kind of going a little bit, and you always see that second year was like, bam, like man,
Yeah.
like the turnaround. Like you thought the first year was good, and it's like second year, like oh my goodness, like how is he doing this? So I think that is some of the kind of like craze that we're seeing right now and feeling. But I think just a couple other things to touch on real quick, just some key performers. Obviously Disley was he was out. He was, ruled out in that game. So we obviously elevated and had Gaston locked in. And that's my boy, man. I've been
The
talking about
guy.
him since we just started. And it's just to see him do what he did, 7 targets, 5 catches, 46 yards. He had, I think, believe 3 of his catches went for first downs, and he had those 2 huge catches on that last drive to set up the game winning field goal. Like he was money. He
Yeah,
was
big
money, man.
time.
Like he was running routes, he was getting separation, catching everything that came his way. There was one that he dropped, but it was a short throw. So like, maybe he could have caught it, but it was an underthrow. Um, but I look at those things and I'm like, man, like we used Conklin pretty decently week 1. Week 2, there was like no tight end production, and then week 3, boom, Gaston on the scene, and his blocking looked really good too. Like it wasn't like people were just running through him, swiping his arms down, getting around him. Like he was holding some good blocks. So like I'm excited, man. I don't see how it's gonna be real hard for them not to keep him elevated, kind of like the Tony Jefferson thing. You see Tony Jefferson get
Yeah,
elevated, gets an interception, he's making deflections, great
all over
tackles.
the place, man.
You look
Important
at
times
Gaston.
Tony Jefferson is there.
Yeah, and now you look at Gaston on the offensive side. It's like, how do you put this guy back down? Like the linebackers couldn't cover him. He's too big for safeties. He's fast, and he's blocking decently well, in which he can get better at that. Andy Bischoff, Jim Harbaugh, Roman. They're gonna be like, hey, listen, this is how we're gonna keep you on the field. Like you're receiving the game, you look really good. Blocking, let's get it even better. So I think that's just one thing that I really wanted to point out. Just seeing that, when we have players that are hurt, and even week 2, no Molden. Okay, put Tony Jefferson in. He's still getting great production. Like you never really saw that from Chargers teams, pre Harbaugh. You never did. When someone
Yeah,
was hurt, it's like, oh my goodness, who are they gonna put in? And the guy gets in, dropping passes, or he's getting beat on coverages, or he's missing tackles. It's like you're not seeing that. You're not seeing the
yeah.
drastic drop off because these guys are coached up so well, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, that depth is there. And just to touch on those two guys you mentioned, OG Harbaugh in his press conference yesterday to open up the week of practice before week 4 talked about, yeah, he's going to be on the field a lot. Like he showed a lot. Like Harbaugh gave him a shout out and said, we're going to be using him more. So fantasy sleeper for all you folks out there that are tuning in need a tight end, which is a position that can be helpful if you're not have one of those big three at the top. OG, I would put him on your roster if you can. And
Unless you're in any of my leagues, don't. He's OG not good, man. Don't.
don't worry about him. Man, and then Tony Jefferson, same thing. He got asked about him and just the possibility of what are they going to do with him once Molden's back, and he said, "I want Tony Jefferson on the field as much as possible," which I 100% agree with. He almost came up with a huge interception that would have took away points from them. He just missed it. He read the route. He left his area in the back of the end zone,
Hmm.
flew up to come up to that crosser and just missed picking it out of the air. Almost just missed getting it from out of his chest, but they fought for the ball and then it popped in the air. He just missed it. Would have
Yep.
been a huge interception. That was when they got it to 20-13.
Hmm.
And then on the final drive, flies up and makes a great stop on a screen pass. The O lineman doesn't even get close to touching him. Stops
Nope.
JK in the backfield. He just always is in the right spot, and he gives us, just like Molden and Gilman does, the ability to move Derwin around and be the beast that he is. And so
Yep.
I think that aspect of it, and the guy was a former scout before he came back to play, so he's up here. He knows, he's going to be in the right spot. He's going to be coaching anybody else up as well. Know what the
Yep.
offense is doing. He's been in the league a long time, so I think that guy is just so valuable. You have to have him dressed out and on the field.
Absolutely, man. No, you hit the nail on the head with that one, man. That scout aspect of him being able to identify talent, coach guys up, that's next level. And if you're able to still compete and play, think about how much higher of an IQ he has and how much more plays he's able to make because he's not only out there playing it and doing it, like his mind is processing it before it's probably even happening. So it's yeah, that's an understatement for sure. That was a great
Yeah.
point out.
Yeah, that I mean, it just takes us back to that secondary and how locked in they are. You got guys like Derwin and Tony Jefferson in your film study. Like, no wonder the defense is flying around and making plays on that back end. But
Yep.
yeah, let's turn the page on week three. What a win! Can't say enough about it. We're back on the road. We're traveling back up your way, up to New York. Go to see the Giants this week. Obviously, there's a lot going on their side, which we can touch on later once we get more towards the game prediction, or if you have some during the game preview. Jackson Dart starting this week, taking over for Russell Wilson. See how that fares for him going against Miners defense. Best of luck to you, Jackson. Even though I like him, but not this week.
Yeah,
So
not this week.
yeah, what are you excited to see this week? Week four, 3-0 heading East Coast.
I'm just excited to see the team continue to dominate, and it may not be a dominate in, well, this game I do see us, and we'll talk about it later in our game prediction. I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty wide gap between the scores, our scores and theirs, but just see the team continue to show that we're a hardball type team, physical, winning in the trenches. I don't think outside of our offensive line against Denver's defensive line and the injuries, that might have been the only trench battle I felt like we've lost so far. I don't think we've lost O-line battles in any game other than this one. And I think our D line has been really handling a lot of the offensive lines that we
Yeah,
faced so every week. So trenches, winning those trenches, showing that we're physical, and then just being that defensively sound and strategic team that's making adjustments. And team might be having a couple plays here and there. Minner is getting us in the right spots to being able to keep those offensive play callers and those quarterbacks, not in a rhythm, not letting them
Mhm.
able to get rhythm. So I think that's, talking about key matchups, that's one of my key matchups.
Okay.
A rookie QB, Jackson Dart, in his first start versus Jesse Minner. So
Yeah.
that's my number one key matchup. We saw last year all the QBs that were either making some of their first starts. It was their first year. You talk about Spencer Rattler last year. You talk about Drake May last year. Bo Nix two times. Although Bo Nix played pretty well, in the two matches that we played them.
Yeah.
But we made it extremely tough on him. It wasn't easy for him.
No.
And then you even look at the QBs who might have been around for a little while, but just weren't good. The Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, Will Levis. Mentor made those games extremely difficult for those guys to be able to process pre-snap and post-snap. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm with you. I like Dart, and I think he gives the Giants a better chance to be able to be in games, win games, move the football because of his athletic ability. He
Yeah.
also could throw it too, but that athletic ability gives you another edge. But I think it's going to be extremely tough for him because I just don't. Minner's just he's just a tremendous D coordinator, and he's gonna those sim pressures and those sim blitzes he schemes up. That's gonna mess with Dart's head.
Yeah.
So I just know that it's gonna be really tough on him. Um, Am I expecting Dart to maybe make a few splash plays? Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a long game. I mean, it's bound to happen. Um, the only other one that I would say, and this one's a gimme, but it's like our O line versus their D line.
Yeah.
I mean, we know they got some really good edge rushers. Dexter Lawrence in the middle. We know the D line's pretty good, and our O line's banged up. So that right side of the line, I did see Trey today. Practice reports came out. Trey was a full participation.
Yep.
Bozeman was limited, so he was out there. He was doing some stuff. But Beckham was still another DNP, in
Yeah.
concussion protocol. So um, it does look like we should have Trey. Bozeman looks like he's gearing up to be able to play. But not having Becton out there, that's a big loss as well. In any game, doesn't matter if you're playing against a good D line or bad. So those are just some of the things that I'm looking forward to see, especially the O line, just kind of just seeing how they fare.
Yeah.
Um, but Herbert's Herbert, and
Yeah.
we saw he got 14 QB hits, 24 pressures, 23 pressures last week.
23.
Still got the dub, so I'm
Yeah.
not really concerned.
Yeah, we got Superman in the back. Now we don't want Superman to have to be Superman for 60 minutes, and
No,
have to fight off hits and fight off pressures. Like you
no,
mentioned, 23 pressures. I was going to touch on that with my key matchup as well. 23 pressures is a lot of pressures. That's a big number. 5 sacks. And you could feel it when I was watching the game and when we were there. Like they were getting after Justin Herbert, man. And he was unusually off at the beginning and then it continued, but I think that's because of the pressure they brought. He was just over 50% completion percentage last week, which, normally he's sitting around that 70, 69, 70% rate.
mhm,
Um, and so you could just feel he was just a smidge off, but when you got like literally the first play of the game, Becton got blown up and we had a 3-yard loss. So they
yeah,
were on us defensive line and blowing up our offensive line from the jump. Bonito was an animal. So you know, transitioning that to this week, they got guys like Brian Burns, Abdul Carter is explosive, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence in the middle. Like those are four big time players like that can impact this game. So I'm going right there for my key matchup. Like you said, it's a gimme, but I think it can't be understated because like the nature of those guys can wreck a game. And as we saw last week, if you're thrown off, I mentioned we have a 10 back there and he can, fight through those things. But we want to make it easy on him too. We would rather him look like he did in week 1 and 2 as far as not being pressured, being clean, being
yeah,
efficient, getting the ball out there, hitting our guys. He was still able to do that in week 3, but it felt different. It was tough. And
yeah.
so how can we make that game a little bit easier on him by keeping him upright? So we got to keep those guys off him. Brian Burns already has 4 sacks, so he's going to be there. But like, um, I think all will bounce back. All wasn't bad last week, but it wasn't his typical like dominant performance, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be the best tackle ever every single week.
No.
He's been great, and so to see him let up a sack one time, it's like, oh man, what's going on? But like it's crazy because the expectations are so high. It's like you see him get beat off the edge one time, you're like, what's going on, man? But Pipkins letting up 9. They were just after him. That's a high number of pressure. So I need a bounce back performance. But he was fighting something all game that knee.
Yeah.
Then he gets poked in the eye later and still comes back in. So
Hmm.
it was just a lot going on for Pipkins up and down day. So I want to see them bounce back against a really good defensive line. The other thing I'm excited to see. Of course, I want to see what Dart does. I think he can cause some problems running, but we've seen guys like Nix and Mahomes where we've left spies out there. So I think Henley will do a good job with that. Mentor will have something for him. Hopefully, we could generate more pressure. But I went with I want to see a breakout game for Ladd. I'm excited to see that, and I think this is a team that can allow that for him. I think by now, teams know QJ is not year 1, year 2 QJ. So
No.
they're going to have to defend him or at least have some eyes on him, unless they just want to have someone go long on them or break open over the middle and big plays just continue to happen, which that's totally fine too. Keenan's Keenan. So I think he's going to command attention when he's out there. I think this is a week we'll finally see a little bit more open up for Ladd because, week 1, he was taken away by Spags, just game planning him out of the game as much as he could. Week 2, I felt the same thing that they had a lot of attention and a lot of eyes on Ladd to where it allowed Q to get deep on that one for touchdown. Um, so they didn't want to give up the easy first downs to Ladd in that game against the Raiders. And then last week is just a really good secondary. I don't think they paid as much like shading coverage and doing things like that nature to Lad. But at the same time, I think there was more attention on him compared to QJ and Keenan to where, 11 targets for Keenan last game, 10 for QJ, and 7 for Lad. I don't see him being that much, there being that much separation between them three on a normal basis. So I think this is going to be a breakout game for Lad.
No, there's some great things you're touching on right there, and like I said, maybe, you being in person, sometimes it's when you're watching on obviously on TV, you get to see some of that replay stuff that you may not be locked in on, but like there was a lot of attention on Lad, and I was telling some of my guys, I mean, you look at a lot of these plays like, and Hufunga, he played a real dirty game. He was doing some real dirty things out there, and I didn't appreciate that at all. But it's football. I mean, it is what it is. But there were plenty of times where Lad's coming off the line and Hufunga, I mean, that's not a dirty play, jamming a receiver, but like they weren't letting him get clean
Yeah.
releases, even out of the slot. Like he would come off and they would hit him. So like you've seen a lot of that, and you see a lot of plays where you got underneath coverage, and then the safety's playing on top outside. So if Lad breaks out, they're driving on him. You know what I'm saying? That was one of those plays where he went up and he had the ball in his hands, but he got hit by Hufunga, and I think it was either Riley Moss or one of their linebackers. I can't remember, but there was a decent amount of eyes on him. They were paying attention to him for sure. Like you said, they're not going to be able to keep doing that every week. I mean, you're going to see QJ running free. Keenan is doing his thing. You're not going to be able to do that. The
Yeah.
only other thing that I wanted to touch on was the Joe Alt thing. Like you said, he ain't gonna be perfect. He's year two. We know he's really good and he's gonna be elite. And I think he's elite now.
He is.
And he's only gonna get better. But Nick Bonito was also a defensive player of the year, like finalist. Like I'm pretty sure he was top three. I can't remember because I had a bet in that pissed me off because TJ Watt was leading for a while, and then the Steelers fell off. Pat Surtain won it, but I'm pretty sure Surtain and Bonito were 1 and 2 in the race. So
Mm.
like Bonito is he's good. He's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he
So to
really
give
is.
up one sack versus him, I think what he gave up, I think two pressures outside of that. It was a really good game by all. And I think one thing that really gets missed, or one thing that I think maybe we missed as like the Chargers, Will Disley.
Yeah.
How much better maybe of our pass blocking or the less pressures we might have had having Will Disley out there, knowing that he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the game. So we had Tucker Fisk elevated, but Disley, that veteran savviness, like there's a little bit more there with Disley than there is Fisk. Fisk is a great blocker, but I think we missed Will Disley a lot. We had a lot in the receiving game, but I think the blocking, I think we missed that too.
Very true. Disley does a lot. Chips late sneaking out. Helping out with the tackle would have been Pipkins probably more often than all.
Yep.
It's a good call there with Disley not being involved in that game last week. So yeah, let's turn that attention this way to our favorite segment here, or one of our favorite segments. I guess we like them all, but we love a little bit of being on the winning side of this segment. We're gonna get to our betting segment for this week's Week 4 picks. Chargers at the New York Giants. We're starting off. Quick recap of last week's picks. Justin right on the money again, 3 for 3 this year on his Boltador locks. I took a chance with Ladd. I thought he was gonna, see a little bit more action this week against the Broncos, so I missed my first bolt lock, but still hit on my favorite over under, which was also his lock. Omarion Hampton's over. He went way over after that Najee injury. Unfortunately, that he went down, but huge that Omarion was able to step up. You also hit on your anytime touchdown with Omarion Hampton. I took a chance with Herbert, and he wasn't as mobile this week as far as looking to run, which is totally fine because he was airing it out. Still got the 300 yards passing, league
Yep.
leader after 3 weeks, Justin Herbert. And so, we're looking pretty good this year on our bets. So if you're still taking those, you're singling those up, you're still in the plus money, you're still in the green. So, stay locked in with us. Um, the one that we didn't hit, I know you want to touch on that real quick. I'll let you get that off your chest real quick. J.K. Dobbins under that they did not hit last week, man.
Yeah, that pissed me off. We spoke about it. Like I said, he was under literally like negative yardage to start the second half. He had negative yards going into the second half. His line was at 51 and a half. In the third quarter in that first drive, thanks in part to a swing pass that probably should have been ruled a pass and not a rush. He had 66 yards on three consecutive drives, three consecutive plays, sorry,
Yep.
and ended it with a touchdown that shattered the under for me. So yeah, that pissed me off because he, like I said, he had negative yards to go into the second half. We were clogging up all the lanes. He had no way to run. And I don't know what happened. And it was only really that drive.
Yeah, that's it.
Right after that drive, it went back to no room to run. So
Yeah.
it was really odd, really odd. But definitely destroyed my under. Um, made me a little mad because I was looking at a 3-3 on that one, but it's all
Yeah.
good. It happens. You're
Yeah.
not going to hit everything. And like you said, across the board, our picks together, we're well over 50% going into week four.
Yep.
So we're still sitting really good.
Yeah, so we're gonna come at you guys with some yearly numbers here next week. But last week, 3 of 6 overall, 2 for 3 on your side, 1 for 3 on my side. So I gotta shake back because I don't like the fact that I didn't get my bolt the door lock. I was trying to go 17 of 17. So let's start there. What are you thinking this week? Your bolt the door lock of the week.
So this one, I'm gonna take it in the direction of kind of how I had my favorite over under last week. I'm gonna go with an opposing team player.
Okay.
And this one, it's to me, it's a lock because I know the circumstance. Now, can a couple big plays mess things up? Absolutely. We saw it happen with Dobbins last week. Had him on lock for all of the game outside of one drive. So could it mess things up? I mean, potentially. My bolt the door lock this week, Jackson Dart, 188 and a half yards. I got him on the under.
Mm,
Got him on the under. Reason why. Their O-line is pretty bad. Outside of Andrew Thomas, their O-line does not look good. So I think he's going to be heavily pressured, and I think that's going to allow our players to be pretty aggressive on the defensive side, which I think that could also lead to some big plays offensively. But I think we're too sound defensively, coaching wise, to let that happen. Definitely not 2 weeks in a row because we saw there was some lapses last week on those deep plays where guys are just running free.
right.
I don't think that we're a team that's not going to get coached up on that and be like, hey, we got to be on our game. That cannot happen. If Bo Nix completes some of those passes, we're in trouble.
Yep.
So I'm taking them on the under. Like I said, it's at 188 and a half on FanDuel. That's at minus 114 on those odds. Like I said, I'm loving it. A rookie quarterback, first start ever against us this week. I think that's really tough. Just quick stats. Outside of Mahomes, who had 258 yards passing against us, all the other quarterbacks, Gino, he had 180, Bo Nix, 150,
Wow.
153, sorry. So I'm looking at those teams and I'm looking at the landscape and the coaching and the situation. To me, that under outside of just some miraculous plays potentially happening, like I said, it could
Yeah.
happen. I don't see it happening. Not against Minner, not against his defense, especially after those kind of like lapses in the secondary last week. I don't see it happening.
100%. I mean, just don't let neighbors get behind you. That's their guy, really. Don't do what the Cowboys did and just let him go by you and make spectacular plays. It seems like the Chiefs had a pretty good idea of what not to let them do. I know it'll look a little bit different with Dart, but I love that pick. Um, didn't realize how low those other two guys were outside of Mahomes, and you got to expect, first start. Will he be patient enough to take those underneath throws and methodically work the ball downfield, drive after drive throughout the game? Doubt it. So I think that 180 and a half is a good one. My bolt the door lock, sticking right there with you with Mr. Dart, but I'm taking his over interceptions at 0.5. I'm taking that over. That's at minus 163. So not a ton of juice there. I mean, maybe pair these two bolt locks up. You're gonna get plus money if you do that. I'm gonna give you that calculation here in a second. I'm gonna look it up. But one minus 163 over on his interceptions. We had 0 takeaways last week. I mentioned that earlier. We lost a turnover battle by 2 and won the game. I don't think we lose this turnover battle this week. I think we're due for some more takeaways, just like I said before week 2. Now, will I be right on the first play? I hope so. If I'm not, I think I'm right at some point. So we'll find out. But yeah, I'm locking that one in. Jackson Dart over half an interception. So I think he's going to give us one. At some point, he might get greedy trying to force that ball in over there to their superstar Malik Neighbors, and hopefully someone could go up and get that.
No, absolutely. I love it, man. Like I said, it goes hand in hand with, us and talking about, and maybe not hand in hand with the under, but hand in hand with how our defense is and how just smart and intelligent Minner is as a coordinator. Yeah, I think we're gonna put him in some bad spots and force him to make some bad throws. And like I said, he's a rookie in his first start. He's gonna try to make some splash plays. There's probably gonna be some turnovers there. So I love that.
Yeah. So let's talk about favorite over under. I know we could take this in a lot of directions. Let's see if you bring it back to the Chargers for this one, or we could stick over there on that Giants side and see if they could give us some money as well. But your favorite over under this week.
Favorite over under. So I've picked this guy 3 times so far for either one player or another. But I'm going with Amarian Hampton in this one. But I'm taking his rushing and receiving line over. It's 87 and a half. It's at minus 114. Um, the injury to Najee, I think it just paves the way for him to really be a workhorse all three downs. Will you get some Hassan Haskins mixed in on third downs? Absolutely. Harbaugh talked about Kamani Vidal, maybe this being his chance. Kamani Vidal is not going to get anywhere near the split that it was looking with Najee and Omarion.
Yeah.
Before
No
Najee
way.
and Omarion went out, it was 50-50 pretty much. No way is that going to be the split. It's probably going to be somewhere in terms of 80-20, 85-15 probably.
Yeah.
Vidal is nowhere near what Najee is. Pass blocking, pass protection, receiving game, just overall everything. So I think there's going to be we're just going to see a lot of Hampton. And I think the game is going to be in a terms of we're either going to be leading by probably a large margin to the point where it's like we're just going to keep hammering them with Omarion. And last week we saw he had 7 targets, 6 catches for 59 yards.
Yeah.
That at 87 and a half, I think is for it combined for rushing and receiving. I think it's low. I think it's low. It's not like we're going to be in a game that's a shootout that may take Omarion out the game. He's going to be running. He's going to be a focal point in the receiving game. Yeah, I see that number and I see him blowing past that.
Yeah. I love it. Love it. Love it. I mean, I think there's no way he doesn't get over 100 combined for that. I think he could even be a 100-yard rusher this week, finally touch triple figures just because, like you said, that split's not going to be there. I don't really think Vidal takes any carries away. I think the time that we see Marion off the field will be like passing third downs where Hassan Haskins can could provide protection because he's capable of that. I don't really see Kimani getting any carries unless the game's out of hand and we just want to rest our guy after a good day's work. And by that point, hopefully he's over that number for you. So
Absolutely.
love that one. My favorite over under this week, I'm going with Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And right now that's at minus 146 over on DraftKings. Like I said, not a ton of juice again, like the first one, but Giants ranked 31st in total defense, 28th in pass defense. Their secondary is nothing to write home about. Their secondary is basically hoping that the front four will get to the pass rush, to get to the quarterback and provide the pass rush so that they can just, sit back and not have to do too much on their end because, if you look at the names back there, it's nobody that, if you're not a New York Giants fan, that you're probably familiar with. So with them having to defend Q, defend Keenan, defend Lad, like I think is going to be a breakout guy, defend OG now in the pass game, defend Trey Harris if we get him some more snaps. I think they have a long early afternoon ahead of them over at noon Central Time, 1 p.m. over there on the East Coast in that secondary. So I'm taking that over 1.5. I think Justin gets that. We're throwing the ball this year. We've shown that. So I think there's no way that one doesn't hit.
Yeah, man. The ball is in Ten's hand often and early, so I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and that it'll tie into one of it'll actually tie into my favorite anytime.
All right.
So yeah, so I guess we could just jump right into that. So favorite anytime. I'm going with Lad McConkey. So just like you said, man, kind of
Same note
just
too.
oh, see, so there you go. So it's that kind of right the ship game. We've seen QJ, 3 TDs through 3 weeks. We've seen Keenan Allen, 1 TD in each game, so he's got three as well. Lad has 0 touchdowns. I don't think that trend continues. I don't think that they're going to be able to, like you said, keen on Lad every single game and letting QJ and Keenan roam free. It's just not a good game plan. It's
Yeah.
not a good game plan. There's no way you're going to be able to win a game like that against a quarterback who's this accurate and this on the money.
Hmm.
He's rarely late. He's rarely off target. So you just can't. You can't let guys roam free. You saw that in the first week. The guys were open, and guess what? It was on target pass after on target pass. He rarely miss passes. He
Yeah.
rarely misses them. So, like you said, I think this is a week where Lad gets right. His anytime TD odds is at plus 165. I love it. That's my favorite anytime this week. Um, just with, like you said, all of the attention being on him, it's going to start to ease up.
Yeah.
And we've seen what he's able to do week in, week out. He hasn't been the focal point. He hasn't needed to be. This is a game where he gets right.
Absolutely. Right there with you. I got that one at plus 175 over on DraftKings.
Ooh,
So I'm taking that one. I'm gonna pair that with the Justin Herbert over 1.5 because if he's gonna be one of those two, it may just make sense. So and then going back to that bolt the door lock, if you pair that, if you do a bolt lock parlay this week, bolt standard parlay of the locks plus 194 on darts under for the pass yards and over for his interception, that's on DraftKings. So. I think plus 184 is not a bad idea for those two. But yeah, I mean, like you said, everything I'm co-signing, all that with Lad. Another one that I was really looking at, I'm going to give you guys two little sprinkles this week. One of them touches on your favorite over under with Omarions combined. Um, Really tempted to take his rushing attempts over. I think game script, I think we go up early and quickly, and I think we're going to control these guys. And 16 and a half rushing attempts. I think over because I don't think Kamani Vidal is taking it away from him or Haskins. So sprinkle that one in there. That's at minus 121. So not a bad little play if you can find that on your sites. And then another one that I kind of like that goes in hand with our anytime touchdowns and just the breakout performance we think from Lad. Longest reception over 22 and a half yards.
Hmm.
I think he could find a hole in that defense either by going long or breaking one, over the middle and breaking a tackle or something. I think that one hits, and that's at minus 105. So I'm going to find a
Nice.
way to sprinkle those two in there somewhere along the way. But yeah, lots of good action this week. So we line up on one again. We're online with Dart giving us some money. So check back in with us, get those in, make some money with the Bolt Standard, and let us know how you're doing out there yourselves, or if there's a favorite one you guys like, put it in the comments. Let us know on our socials. We like keeping track of that. We're never opposed to making some money.
No, sir. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay, so let's finish it off here this week. Let's talk about the game prediction. What do you see is going to happen this Sunday? We got the early game, so that's going to be a ten o'clock body start for our West Coast, players coming from west to east. Usually can be tough games for a lot of teams, going from that West Coast to the East Coast and playing the early game. Noon start for us, 1 p.m. local start out there in New York. How do you see it going down?
Yeah, man. We've talked about multiple things. You've talked about, rookie QB making his first start, which rookie QB making his first start against anyone's a tough ask. You never know what you're going to get, especially when you look at it as in the realm of a rookie QB making his first start when they have not been practicing as the guy or training camp preseason as the guy every single week. They're making a QB change. The Giants are. It's obviously going from Russ to Jackson Dart. So I think it's going to be tough on them, especially playing against our defense. Jesse Minter, our defense is just, I mean, we have an elite defense. We're top 10 in every stat. And it's just when you look at those things, I just don't see I don't see where he can be successful. Can he make some splash plays? Potentially. Can he use his legs a little bit and, extend drives maybe potentially? It's to be determined. We don't know. But I just think we're too good of a team. The Giants are they're giving them 6.5 points, so they're plus 6.5, obviously at home. That's a big number. But they just they just don't I don't think they're going to be able to score enough points to really cover that. So I do have us covering. I have us winning that game 27-13. I think that we put up a lot of points despite them having a really good D line. I think behind them, I think it's really bad play. Secondary, I don't think they're really short. They're really down linebackers. Their linebacking corps was really hurt. They're
Yeah.
playing Abdul Carter a lot and as an inside linebacker. So I look at a guy who's primarily played edge rusher. He's pretty athletic. He can do a lot of things, but a guy who's known at getting after the ball and getting after the QB, he's not going to be able to stay with any tight ends that we had, whether it's Conklin or please don't put him on OG because it's going to be bad. So yeah, I just don't see where they can have success defensively against our offense. And then vice versa, their offense is, I think it's going to struggle. I think it's going to struggle going from Russ to Dart. I think Dart's an upgrade, but there's just not enough there right now, especially in the first start for a rookie quarterback. And like I mentioned earlier, every other quarterback that started against us last year and they were rookies, and it might not have been their first game, but that it's their first year. Minter made it extremely difficult on those quarterbacks, and he does it on quarterbacks that are proven. He's making it tough on people like Mahomes, making it tough on people like Geno, and I mean Bo Nix is in the second year, but Bo Nix looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So I look at those things and I'm like, man, I don't see where we don't have success this game. And I think we do. I think we just start to finish, take the lead, never give it up, and I think it's a comfortable win.
Absolutely. I'm with you on a comfortable win. I'm with you on a cover. I'm going to get right into it. 31-13 Chargers. I think we come out and take control of the game like we did against the Broncos. But this time we don't let it go and we continue to score touchdowns this week. That's why I'm going with 31. That gives us four touchdowns, opportunity to put up points against a lackluster defense, and the opportunity to have either good field position and get takeaways against a quarterback that I just don't see sustaining a lot of drives against a mentor-led defense and a veteran defense that we have. I think he's going to be really worried about where number three is at and lose sight about where guys like Henley is at and other ball hawks like 23 where he might be. I'm calling him a ball hawk now because he's always around the ball.
Always.
Maybe still gets us an interception. He's always there too. And then maybe I think this pass rush can finally wake up a little bit. We've kind of been asleep in the pass rush department since Mac went out. I'm looking to see Caleb. You gonna get me a sack this week, Bud? You gonna show up? Tooley, are you gonna do something? So I'm looking for that defense to just make some big plays for us. Sleeper anytime touchdown pick Chargers D / special teams. Sleeper. Might want to sprinkle that somewhere.
Plus 600, I got it down because that kind of was like my second favorite anytime. I was like, man, they're gonna make some mistakes. I just knew it. But plus
Yeah.
600 on FanDuel. I don't know what it is on DraftKings, but plus 600.
I was almost thinking you might say something about OG too, especially then when you mentioned that Burns might be playing some inside linebacker. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I just think this is just a team that takes care of business. And also, if you really think about it, this is the most rest we'll get, and then longest time that we've been home for a while. So maybe we should have our bodies feeling better that way. I know we're traveling to New York, but I mean, we've been on the West Coast for a while, had a home game, so we didn't have to travel after a game for the first time this year.
Yep.
So maybe that could be a positive factor for us. And then, I mentioned how usually West Coast teams struggle going East Coast, but I just don't think a Harbaugh-led team is going to do that. Harbaugh is too good of a coach. We have too many professionals. We have too many leaders in that room on both sides of the ball to allow that to happen. So I'm looking for us to go out there and take care of business. 31-13, road to 4-0. Can't be 4-0 without being 3-0. We checked that first box. Let's go get that second box.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Like I said, it's a treat to be able to watch the Chargers play the way they're playing, the way they're being coached up, and you just see the excitement in all the guys. I mean, like you pointed to it last week. You're looking at players like Derwin and Keenan jumping up on the sidelines. I mean that right there is you don't see that a lot. You get to see excitement from players, but a lot of times it's the younger guys that are just super hype, and it's the whole team. I just think what Harbaugh is instilling in this team and I think the motivation and the trust and the belief that like we can do something special. It's radiating through everybody, and it's just nuts, man. It's nuts to see it. Like I said, we're only 2 years removed from, and I don't like to talk bad about like previous coaches or regimes, but I'm not high on Tom Telesco and all his years as a GM, and I'm not high on Staley and Anthony Lynn, and it's just I'm not. And seeing what we're able to do and how Harbaugh has this team just riled up and just fighting it's night and day. It's night
Yeah.
and day. So I'll turn it over to you before I get ready to close out. But yeah, man, I'm super, super stoked, man. Super stoked.
Oh yeah. So thank you guys for being here another week. We're looking to capitalize on taking advantage of this part of our schedule that is not divisional games and win another week here. Go 1-0 every week. Harbaugh likes to say that. Win this week, win the day. So we're trying to do the same thing here at the Bold Standard. So if you know a friend, another Charger fan, send them the link. Drop their name somewhere in the comments. Let us know. We're trying to extend this reach a little bit. There's a lot of good news to go around about Chargers football. We're just trying to spread the word. So if you could do the same thing and let some people know to tune in and check us out, we would really appreciate that. Check out the socials. And then until next week, we're gonna keep saying it over here. You see it above our heads. Bolt up.